What is up, guys? It's Diana here with Entree Woman TV, helping transition your passion into the business that you love. But today is a vlog video, and this is the first time I can definitely say it's a spontaneous video that is just like right in the moment. But the whole thing is that I want to talk about the Canon M50, not as a review, not like a preview or anything like that. We're going to cover some specs and stuff like that, but I really just kind of want to share some thoughts on it in this vlog. So if that's something if you're into, you want to have a discussion around it, stay tuned. So guys, Canon finally releases the Canon M50. Now the rumors seem to be pretty spot on with some stuff, and I'm not gonna lie, I have an attitude about a lot of things that Canon has done with this camera and with waiting so long and just all of the things in between, simply because they're late. They're like a few years late. They're like light years late. Okay, they are just super late. Light years late. I don't know what that is anyway, but I liked it. So Canon M50 finally dropped. It just dropped tonight. The announcement, you can check it out on B&H. You can check it out on Canon USA on the YouTube channels. I'll link, I think B&H or Amazon, they should have a link so you can check out the specs and all that stuff down below. But the whole thing is like, so just from what I've learned thus far, and this is like super high levels with the stuff that I've seen thus far on the camera, they finally put 4K in it. We're going to touch on that in just a second. But so they do everything that this camera, the M6, that we kind of wanted in this camera. Now, instead of a flip out screen like this, shooting on the G85 right now, it flips out to the side like normal, like we all want, the vari-angle screen. Still uses the Canon M mount, obviously. Looks very similar to the Canon M5 with the electronic shoe at the top, because electronic viewfinder, excuse me, at the top, so that you can, you know, put the mic on there and not have it be obstructed like people have with this camera, as well as the M3. Another thing is that when you are looking through that electronic viewfinder, one of the things I love about the G85 is that you can have it up to your eye and actually touch and move around the focusing points with the screen. Okay, well, they put that in there now finally, and it's just basic stuff that they're just now putting into cameras that cameras like this, the G85, that has been out for a while, already has done. And just like, you know, forgive me if I ramble on this one. I'm just kind of sharing my thoughts on this one or whatever. So you can hang out if you want to, thumbs down the video twice if you feel like it, whatever. Float your boat or find your lost remote. But the whole thing is that, like, after all of this, Canon finally puts 4K in their camera. It can no longer be said officially that Canon doesn't do 4K in their consumer-based cameras. This camera was $779, I think, right at $800 after taxes and all that. So I think it's $899 for the new M50. Finally put 4K in there, and what do you know? It is zoomed in like nobody's business. It is a severe crop on there. I think by the time you're done with it, it's the equivalent of maybe something to the effect of like a 40 millimeter down below. Not down below, I'm thinking something else anyway, but it's equivalent of like a 40 millimeter once it's all said and done. Like, what? Seriously? You know, okay, so maybe not 4K 60, not a lot of cameras outside of the G85 that I know of, maybe some higher end cameras like the 1DX maybe, or something like that, that can do 4K 60, but I know for a fact the G85, but not G85, excuse me, GH5. But here's the point. You finally put 4K in the camera, but then you have it so it's zoomed in like something like that, okay? Like crazy. I don't know if I want to be that zoomed out, but something crazy like that, right? And then, of all things, it's just 120 frames per second at 720p. This little camera, this is a Panasonic ZS70 that I picked up for Christmas, that I got for myself. Ridiculous range on it. See if I can get you to see that there. Oh, did I cut it on? Yeah, I did. So ridiculous range there, zooming capacity. But just the fact, this camera, $350 camera, ZS70, can do everything that this new camera that's just now coming out can do without that severe crop, and it does 4K 24 frames per second, and I know it has up to like 120 frames per second, I believe at 723, but this is a $300 camera, point and shoot camera. You're talking about something like the M6, M5, and that's in 120 at 720p, maybe, you know, I'm pretty sure in good lighting. At the end of the day, the Canon's not garbage, but the whole thing is like come on, 1080p. Stop with this 60 frames per second stuff. Like, do what everybody wants you to do. Do the right thing. Do the right thing. Who cares if you're going to use it? It's about having options. Now, some people may love this camera. I'm not trying to bash on it, but I'm just thinking about it from like, okay, so this is a small business channel, business related stuff, but I love tech and everything around the tools that help you build your business and, you know, help you create and share a message so that you can market your business. And, you know, part of that is some of the equipment that we begin to use as we develop our level of professionalism with our marketing strategies and so forth. Not that these are bad things. You can definitely do some damage with the settings on this camera. I'm just talking about video, not photo stuff. But my whole thing is like, you are putting like, again, $350, maybe $400 brand new, I think. Panasonic Lumix ZS70, a point and shoot camera. It's comparable specs. This has an electronic viewfinder on it. This has, you know, a flip out screen. This has touch screen. This has basically it's a baby G85, which is why I got it, so I can have a G85 in my pocket. Stupid zoom on it, even though it's not an interchangeable lens. But I mean, just like, you know, let's really consider what they're offering us here. I think it's a good offering. I appreciate them finally doing it, because I was getting depressed and upset that they're not being competitive. Even though, like when the A7R III came out, I was super excited about that camera, not because I had any intent to buy it, but because of where things are going and where people are pushing the market. People are starting to buy 4K TVs. People will start to invest in 4K monitors and stuff like that. So the same way, like when we went from regular standard definition television to HD TV, now we're transitioning into, you know, everybody making sure that they have 1080p HD minimum, and some people starting to get 4K. I've been shooting more videos in 4K, whether I downsample it to 1080p or not. Even some of the working stuff that I do outside of everything else, starting to shoot 4K and stuff like that. And it is a huge benefit to it. Not going to get into all of that. You guys probably already know that. But the whole thing is like, they're getting there, they're starting to get there, but I just don't like it. It doesn't have the in-body image stabilization. It's digital image stabilization, which is cool. But here's the kicker with the 4K. You put 4K in the camera. Finally. Okay, so it's got a crop. Let's just back it up. We'll back up. Fine. We can't vlog with it, but we'll back it all the way up. Put it on a tripod or something, or let somebody hold it for us. Or get a super wide fisheye lens or something like that, or super something, right? Here's the kicker. The 4K, they take out the dual pixel autofocus. It stops working when you enable 4K video. Like, what? This is why I had to do this video. I may be rambling. You may not like it. Like I said, hit the thumbs down button twice if you don't. But it's just kind of like having a conversation about it, because I got to geek out about this. But at the same time, like, okay, you got the eye focus, like I got that on right now for the G85, using the Yoda Yield hacks and stuff like that I talked about. And the test I did, 80 for the shutter speed is about the sweet spot. Link that up in the YouTube card if you want to check out that video. But 4K video, finally, 24 frames per second. And now all of a sudden, dual pixel autofocus, the thing that everybody loves, that they finally just start putting in their cameras, starting with the T7i, the M6, the 77D, and all those cameras that came out around about that time. So those cameras finally come out with dual pixel autofocus, and now it doesn't even work on your latest camera that's a consumer camera with 4K finally. So I'm hoping that maybe that eye, or that pupil, which is essentially for the eye, focusing system that they have built in, I'm hoping that maybe that is what's being used to still have a level of autofocus similar to the dual pixel autofocus. I don't know. I really want to see like the Northrops do some stuff. I like Peter Gregg, this old guy. I love him. He's just so sweet. I want to see what he does because I know he's probably gonna get like 2 of these things just for the sake of having them. And I think it's cool. Is this enough to make me switch out my G85s, you know, ZS70 and the M3 and M6? Absolutely not. M3 and M6 I'm gonna keep because I like them for now. I don't think I'll probably get rid of them because I haven't, even though I've calmed down and Canon has released their new camera that we're talking about now. But this is not enough to make me want to jump ship and go back to Canon. Like, I'm completely sold out on Panasonic. I don't care about some of the other challenges that they have. I'm sold out on Panasonic. Like, I am team Panasonic now, even though I still love Canon and I do still regularly use both of these cameras. You know, again, is it something that I would buy? I don't think so. Maybe they'll come out with a firmware update, pull that zoom, that cropped in issue with the 4K, though, you know, be able to expand that out. Because being able to finally have a camera that a lot of people are going to love, like hands down, people are going to love this camera, and they should. They absolutely should, because they're finally getting, like, for me, what the G85 was for me and just how phenomenal it was for me. Even though the G85 has more features, I did a video about it. I couldn't upload it yet because it was out of focus, thanks to the Canon M3. Another time, another day, I'll talk about that later. But just comparing the two together, it has like the 4K live cropping. I can, you know, fake a pan and zoom and stuff like that in camera, snap autofocus features, all that stuff that the G85 has, and it just works. And it works for me and my workflow and the things that I'm doing. It works perfectly for me. It's not worth me switching over to Canon again for that as my primary shooter. And I'm just still, like, I'm thankful and I'm glad because they're finally getting it. They've been forced into this bottleneck of an issue to deal with this. Like, they have to, you know, put up or shut up, kind of. And I'm glad. I'm glad for everybody that's going to be shooting Canon now, for those that may go back to them. But at the same time, I'm curious. My biggest thing, and you can let me know what you think down below because I'm going to wrap this up. Who knows how long I've been going for, 12 minutes now. So I think the biggest thing for me is that Canon did this one camera. Yeah, they gotta come out with more now. You can look at, you know, the successors to the 80D, having that DIGIC 8 processor that's now in the Canon M50. You can look at more, you know, electronic viewfinders, which is phenomenal if you've never tried one before. Even in a little point and shoot like this, like as small as this is, it's still phenomenal for just wanting to use it. It's awesome. There's no way to really explain that. Having that vari-angle screen, mic input, basically they could have put 4K and an EVF if it doesn't already have one in the G7X Mark III and call it a day, and had this a long time ago. But whatever, you know, whatever they can do to not deal with the overheating issues, then, you know, maybe that was the thing. But you can let me know what you think about this. My whole thing is that I don't trust Canon anymore to be my main and primary shooter. Secondary shooter all day long. Vlogging camera, sure, why not? But I think as far as where they are now, yeah, they did one now. Hopefully they'll continue to throw out some more cameras really soon. The 90D will come out, or whatever the successor is to the 80D, 77D, T8i or something like that maybe. But at the same time, I just feel like they're still going to play these games back and forth. We'll give you this, but we won't give you that. We'll give you this, but we won't give you that. You know, it's just, I think they're going to be too far behind with every camera, every new camera that they release. And I don't want my work, my level of creativity to be stunted by any company, which is why I jumped ship to the G85 with Panasonic. I want my creativity, the projects that I want to take on, and the things that I want to create and the stuff that I see up here to be limited by what I want my camera to do and the customization abilities like the G85 has and stuff like that. So I am going to close out this video because if I could talk about this for real for so much longer, like in an hour-long live stream, and I may do a live stream about it at some point, I don't know. But let me know, like, do you trust Canon anymore? Do you trust them to be your brand, your primary brand of choice for cameras and stuff? I think it'll be great for a lot of people, don't get me wrong, but at the same time, for me and for what I want, I'm not going back. They have to consistently prove and show that they can stay current, you know, just for the sake of being competitive. I want to see Canon win. I love seeing the other camera companies do well because it accelerates the growth of everything, increases what we can do and what we create. Even like I said, 4K is not the primary thing right now for a lot of creators, for a lot of stuff, as far as, you know, camera phones and not camera phones, smartphones, as far as monitors, TVs and stuff like that. We're just now kind of really starting to get into it seriously, but it's options. It's all about options. So closing it out right there. Let me know what you guys think. Do you trust Canon? What do you think about the M50? You going back home, or are you going to stay with Team Panasonic or Sony or Fuji or Olympus or something like that? So let me know down in the comments below. Leave your thoughts. I really want to know what you guys think if you are a camera nerd like me. But I'm staying with Team Panasonic. I'm not interested in leaving. I'll see you guys later. Take care. Bye.